Hey guys, what's up? Nick Techno here, and today we're going to be looking at the Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Essentially, I'm just going to go over 5 things that I personally feel could have been fixed or should be fixed for the next iteration of the Pixel Fold line. Now, I stayed away from the original Pixel Fold because I just wasn't a fan of the passport aspect ratio of the front display. I just felt it looked a little bit too weird. It was too short for my liking, but I did like that it was wider and a little bit more user-friendly for when you're doing anything on the outer display, compared to something like a very skinny phone such as the Galaxy Z Fold series. So when Google announced the Pixel Fold 2, which, turns out to be the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, very huge mouthful, annoying, but I'm just going to call it the Pixel Fold 2. When this was announced, I was extremely excited for it, mainly because of when I saw the outer display. They essentially took a page out of OnePlus's notebook with the OnePlus Open, and they basically made it a full-fledged regular phone on the outside of the screen, and then when you're ready to go, you can open it up and use that beautiful inner display. And I thought that was a really unique design, and I will admit, I'm not a huge fan of the look of the phone. I think it is one of the uglier folding phones on the market at the moment, but that being said, it still gets the job done. I love this outer display. I love using this phone. And there's a lot of good things about Pixel phones that make them unique over other Androids that bring in a lot of people. And this will always be the phone that I tell anybody who's swapping over from iOS or iPhones to come to Android, they want to go with a Pixel, because you're going to get pretty much the iPhone interface or the iPhone experience on Android with a Pixel. And also, I want to give a quick little disclaimer that, of course, with these 5 issues, this does not mean that I hate this phone or that I think it's terrible, or if you purchase this phone that you should get rid of it or exchange it. That is not the case whatsoever. But I did want to get over my 5 major problems with the phone since having it for about 2 weeks now. But I want to be honest that there has been some major issues that have been deal breakers for me, and that's what I want to get over in this video. So starting out at number 1, my biggest issue, and I know this one is not going to appeal to everybody. This is not going to be a problem for every single one of you, and I understand that. But for me, this was a big downside. So ever since maybe 2022, I think, I started purchasing all these MagSafe accessories. Now, I don't have an iPhone. I've never really had iOS devices, and when I did, it was only for a short amount of time. So I never got to test out and use the tried and true MagSafe until I started getting MagSafe accessories for my Android devices. So that being said, I have a MagSafe charger in my vehicle, I have a MagSafe charger in my office, in my room, all around the house, you name it, and I absolutely love using them because it's so convenient to just be able to take your phone, plop it up on a charger, and let it go and do its thing without having to plug in and unplug a cable every single time. It's also a nice peace of mind that you don't have to worry about damaging the porthole for if you need to charge it down the line or if you have the phone for multiple years. So I just really like the idea of MagSafe. That being said, yes, this phone has wireless charging. This phone has the ability to use MagSafe accessories such as like a pop socket or whatever you call these. And it is nice that you have that ability, of course. However, the way that Google implemented the wireless charging coil just makes it obsolete, and it literally makes it useless for any type of charging with MagSafe or wireless charging at all. So to explain this a little bit better, the charging coil in the phone is normally in the middle of every single device, like right smack dab in the middle, as it should be. For some reason with the Pixel, and I understand this might have been some type of constraint with the construction of this phone to make it as thin as it is, but they had to move the coil down the phone so it's more in this area. I actually had this in the wrong spot. I'm supposed to move it down, but I'm just kind of like whatever at this point. But yes. So the actual charging cable or coil is lower on the phone than normal. Whoop-de-doo-dah, right? Like, who really cares? That doesn't really matter. But actually, in the end, it does, because it makes 90% of stands for wireless chargers just not connect to this thing. It just acts as if it doesn't work. You have to place it in a very specific spot to get it to finally start working, or do some weird hacks or workarounds to get it to work. Some person in the subreddit for the Pixel 9 Pro Fold legitimately told me they put an eraser under the phone to prop it up higher in order for it to work with the wireless charger. That is ridiculous. When you're almost spending $2,000 on a phone, you should not have to prop an eraser underneath it to fix the problem that should be not a problem in the first place. That's one problem. The second is MagSafe accessories. So like I said, I put this in the wrong spot in the beginning, but I actually have had it lower. I've tried it all around the phone in different areas to see if I could get this working, and it does not. So obviously accessories like this, not a problem, but when I want to charge it, for instance, in my car, This thing gets so extremely hot that the phone literally breaks down and restarts itself. It's that bad. So it's made me not want to use MagSafe accessories because I'm worried about breaking the phone. And I've heard many other people with this phone have the same problem. It's not just me, and it's not a way I set it up. So MagSafe accessories and wireless charging just in general is a big disappointment slash almost unusable. And that's a huge downgrade for me. Now, I was able to look past that, but these other 4 things that we're going to talk about on this list have pushed me over the edge to sadly go and return it. So yeah, that was the biggest one though. The MagSafe was my number one first issue that I noticed with this phone, and yeah, my first catalyst to looking at returning. The next, and this is correlation with the wireless charging causing the overheating, but not only just overheating with this phone, but just using it on a daily basis. If you're using the screen on for a long period of time, or if you're like watching an episode of Netflix, for instance, it's ridiculous to me that I can't watch one episode of Daredevil or Breaking Bad or whatever on this phone without it getting so warm in the hand that it actually makes the performance slow down. Obviously, I would love to show that on camera with you, but I'd have to sit here for, 40 minutes watching an entire episode before you notice it. But just trust me on this. This phone slows way down when it's warm. And that's going to be even more evident if you live in a hot climate area, if you're closer to the equator. So this might not be the phone for you if you live in hot climates, because yeah, as soon as this thing gets really hot, I'm not saying it overheats to the point of having to shut off. That's only happened with wireless charging. But for just regular usage or gaming or watching Netflix or whatever, this thing gets pretty warm to the point where it just becomes sluggish. The animations slow down. It takes a good 3 seconds to open an app. It just looks really laggy and gross, and you pretty much can only fix it by letting the phone cool down or restarting it. That is another big downside. It could be a software limitation. I don't know if it's a software problem that could be fixed in the future. I hope that's the case. But for right now, for the last 2 weeks, I've been noticing it almost every other day, and it's super annoying. So yeah, that's definitely my number 2 biggest issue. Number 3, and this is another big one, not so much for me, but it is an annoyance that I'm going to bring up here. The lack of customization. Obviously, we're still running Android, so you have the beauty of side-loading a different launcher if you want to, and changing up all the apps the way you want to, and changing the color and the backgrounds and everything, of course, just like you could with any other Android. However, I am talking just straight out of the box without having to side boot a different launcher, because I like the Pixel launcher. I like the look of it and the feeling of it. Without having to do that, it's so strange to me that Google does not allow the user to get rid of or move the search bar down here or the At a Glance feature in the upper left corner. The other thing that's really annoying about the At a Glance, even though it's that tiny, you can't put anything up here on your screen. I don't know why. So this entire section is literally null and void. You can never have anything here, making pretty much every Pixel owner's phone look the same. Again, kind of that iPhone experience. I absolutely hate it. So I just wish Google would go back to the drawing board with their software here and look at their users and realize, hey, we're on Android. We want options. We want customization. Samsung is the king right now for customization and allowing their user to do whatever they want on their phone. And I just wish Google would take something out of their playbook, because this is stupid and this is stupid. And the fact that I had to download a third-party clock widget just to get rid of the date, because otherwise there'd be a date here and a date here, is just so ridiculous to me. It just doesn't make sense. Just make it make sense, Google. My God. Number 4. This is going to be something I literally cannot show you. It's going to be impossible because it's so random and intermittent. But I have had a weird issue, and it's very common apparently. I've seen it many times in the subreddit brought up, and then a couple other reviewers talked about this. The screen randomly wakes itself up even when you're not touching the phone. Supposedly, from what people have said, is they fix this by turning off the fingerprint scanner altogether. But why would I do that? That's one of the biggest features of the getting into the phone is the fingerprint scanner. I know you can use a pattern or a pin or, of course, scan your face, but I don't like doing that. I like using the fingerprint scanner that came with my $2,000 phone. And it's ridiculous that apparently there's a glitch right now, and there's been 2 major software updates, by the way, since I got this phone that have not fixed this problem. So I don't know if it ever will be fixed, but apparently people said it's related to the fingerprint scanner being too sensitive or something. I've even tried turning off the setting where, for right now, I have it where I don't have to press in the button. I can just scan it whenever. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's just oversensitive. For some reason, maybe there's like electric ions in the air or something that's thinking I'm touching the scanner. I turned that off. So I had to be touching and pressing in the button in order to unlock the phone. Still happened. And what I'm talking about is not the always on display. So I have the always on display right now. So when my phone goes into sleep mode, I have the clock, I have my little widget up there, and I have it when it shows notifications. It's not this that I'm talking about. My whole screen will wake up and look like that. But there'll be no notifications, nothing new. I'll go into my apps, I'll go into my recent notifications to see if maybe something's hidden or silent or whatever. Not the case. It's just a problem with this phone. Never experienced that before. Really annoying, and it's just super annoying when it's sitting on my desk or on a charger and it does that, and I'm like, well, is there a notification that I'm missing or what? And it ends up just being nothing, and it actually wastes a ton of extra battery whenever it wakes the screen. So I don't know, man. I hope Google fixes that because, again, I want to be able to use my fingerprint scanner. I don't want to have to turn that off. That is a super big annoyance. And number 5, the last one on my list, it's kind of a two-parter. I just felt like 5 big reasons makes more sense than 6. So I'm going to put 2 into this category. So the first one, pretty obvious, the price. I mean, this thing is expensive, but I'm going to be honest with you. Obviously, all folding devices are expensive. But the Pixel is definitely one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive, in the US. They are having some cool Black Friday deals. I'd recommend jumping on them right now if you want to get the Fold. But Black Friday aside, holiday deals aside, if you're buying this straight out normally from Google, this starts at $1,800, $1,800 for the 256 gigabyte version, mind you. I have the 512 gigabyte model here because I need that. I have all my pictures storage on my phone. I don't have it up in the cloud, so I like having that extra storage available. And if you're going with the 512 gigabyte model like I have here, you're looking at $1,900, $1,900 before tax. So after tax, it's over $2,000. This is a $2,000 phone. I bought it with my own money, by the way. That's why I'm returning it. And it's, when I think about that, $2,000 for a smartphone. This is something that you're probably going to use max 2 years. I don't know many people who have their phones longer than 2 years. If you are one of those people, bravo. I honestly respect it. I wish I could do that. I would save so much money. But I like having the newest of the new. And whenever anything crazy comes out like a folding phone, I want to get my hands on it. But that being said, $2,000, you kind of expect everything to work the way it's supposed to, or at least for the most part with the hardware. Most of my gripes here have been hardware related. They're not things that really can be fixed with software. Some of it might be able to, like the overheating issue, I hope. Lack of customization, I hope that can get fixed with software. But the other stuff, it's all hardware related. At least that's what it seems like. So there's really no way to fix that. And when you're paying $2,000 for a phone, I'm sorry, but the hardware should be perfect. It should be relatively damn perfect. And it's just not. And it's a shame. It really pains me because this phone is awesome. There's so many great things I love about the Pixel. If you haven't checked out my Z Fold 6 versus this phone, definitely go check it out. I'll have a link that in the description below after you watch this video because I praise this phone a lot. I love this phone. But it has some major problems. And these are 5 major problems that I just can't look past. And that's only the first part of my 5th problem. So the second part, it's $2,000, right, for this phone. I have seen so many people now on the subreddit, and granted, I understand the subreddit's a very small niche amount of people who actually bought the phone, so take this with a grain of salt. This is not just saying there's going to be a massive recall or a lot of people are having this issue, but in the grand scheme of things, the subreddit, there's been a pretty big amount of people that have had phones of their inner display cracking or just straight up breaking. All of them state, I'm taking again with a grain of salt. I don't know these people personally, so they could be lying. But from the pictures shown, there isn't any obvious signs of usage. There isn't any signs of them dropping the phone or anything like that. They showed pictures all around the phone to prove that they didn't drop it. And they'll open their inner display one day, and there's just a giant crack down the middle of it. And it's like this weird inky black stuff. I don't really know what the technology is here, but it's broken. They'll contact Google about it, and every single time Google just states it's their problem and they didn't get an extended warranty. And these are people who had the phone within like 3 weeks. So that's honestly another scare for me, another reason why I want to return it, because I just kind of worry that could happen with this phone. That last point, once again, I didn't want to make it its own point because I do feel it is a grain of salt situation. It's nothing that has legitimate proof that there is a hardware defect on every phone. It could just be a couple bad units. But after I've seen that 20 plus times now, it's kind of getting on my nerves to the point of it could happen to everybody and there might be a massive recall, but we'll see. We'll have to see. So with that, that is my 5 major issues right now with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I hope this video does not just gain a ton of hate from people who love this phone or love Pixel phones. I'm not trying to say that you guys are wrong or you should return your phone. I'm not trying to scare you either. I genuinely want this phone to be perfect. And I want Google to go back to the drawing board, and hopefully next year's version of the Fold will be perfect, and that will be the one I'll come back to. Because I love Pixel's atmosphere, I love their ecosystem, I love the feeling of their apps and their animations. The haptics on this phone are amazing. Call quality has been great. The screens are beautiful. I mean, there's so many things that are great about this phone that really pains me to make this decision and to have to make this video. So that's going to be it for right now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, share, support as always. If you have any questions or anything about the phone, let me know in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And with that, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.